Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your weekly dose of college football, where I react to the latest happenings in college football via Instagram posts. It's week 7 coming up. We're almost halfway through the season already. Let's get into an updated top 25 list. And oh my goodness, I mean, what is this? This is just a complete mess. You've got Oklahoma State third. I guess they're going by putting the undefeated teams first. You've got Coastal Carolina in front of Alabama. But the thing is, they're missing University of Texas San Antonio, who's actually had a tougher schedule than Coastal Carolina. Where's UTSA? They're not even inside the top 25. I understand that, this is probably for clicks or whatever, but I just like Ohio State at 20th. Like, when you're putting Oklahoma State third, I mean, come on, what are we doing, folks? I don't know what that was. Week 6 takeaways. Spencer Rattler needs to transfer from Oklahoma. His own fan base has zero faith in him. So I definitely expect Caleb Williams to start over Spencer Rattler this coming week. But I tweeted this out last week. By the way, guys, you can follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I tweeted out and I said Spencer Rattler might be benched, but to be honest with you, he could still, instead of transferring, just leave early for the NFL and probably get picked in the back half of the first round due to his overall talent. I mean, it's the whole thing with Spencer Rattler is so weird, but it's like, I know some people know his arm talent. They know how he's mobile. He's got the look of a franchise quarterback. It's just been so weird how he's struggled, but it's almost like I could almost see him, instead of transferring, just declaring early for the draft, and some GM, thinking they're smarter than everyone else, trading up into the back stages of the first round and taking him. I legitimately could see that. Georgia is without a doubt the best team in college football. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree they're the best team, but they still have a quarterback issue. I mean, is JT Daniels elite? Is that offense elite? I think they're beatable. They have a really good defense, but there's definitely a formula to beat Georgia. Gotta feel bad for this team, man. Would have won with Sean Clifford. Chins up, Lions. Season isn't over yet. Yeah, it's not over. You went out, you're in the playoff, but Penn State has a brutal schedule. They still have Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. We'll have to see if Sean Clifford's healthy or not. He did. It's kind of a weird, he had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he threw for like 200 yards in the first half against Iowa. They were definitely trending to winning that game if Clifford was not knocked out. Did Saban just get out coached? I mean, I guess you could say that. Alabama still controls their own destiny. It's one of those crazy night games. Texas A&M fan base is crazy. They caught lightning in a bottle. What are you going to do? Alabama's defense is a little bit suspect, though. But overall, Bama wins out. They're in. They're going to have to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, though. Sorry, Michigan fans. This isn't your year to beat Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State has one of the most talented offenses in college football history this year with Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith-Njigba. We'll have to see with C.J. Stroud and his Heisman chances. Also, Trevion Henderson, the superstar freshman running back. There's simply too much talent for Ohio State. When Ohio State faces Michigan, Ohio State has so much more margin for error due to their talent being able to overcome that. It's so small for Michigan. Michigan does play them at home, and Michigan's had a good season. They're undefeated. They've exceeded expectations. The Nebraska game was a little close. The Rutgers game was a little close, but overall, Michigan fans should be very happy with what they're doing. But beating Ohio State has one of the most talented, rosters in college football. No, it's very hard to beat Ohio State, especially at the end of the season. We all knew this BYU team would eventually fall. This is a good team, but not a top 20 team. I think they're a top 20 team. I think that's an overreaction. I had them losing last week to Boise State. They end up losing to them. I still think BYU's a top 20 team, maybe not a top 10 team. Give Kentucky a top 10 rank. They may lose to Georgia next week, but they fully deserve it. Yeah, they're going to lose to Georgia. They're 22-point underdogs. I would be shocked if they won. So this is a look at the unbeaten teams. I thought this was a cool map just to look at. Kind of all the land that they have. So that's like the closest geographical team that's undefeated, I guess. You can see San Diego State has an empire on the West Coast there. UTSA gets a shout out. SMU, yep. Cincinnati has a small real estate. Look at Coastal Carolina down in Florida a little bit. And along South Carolina there. That's interesting. So just something fun to look at. First time 5 of the top 10 teams in the AP poll are from the Big Ten. The Big Ten is crazy this year. It's amazing how good that conference is. Pick one, Cincinnati or Ohio State. This needs to happen in the college football playoff. Preferably the semifinal game, a 2v3 matchup. Cincinnati, Ohio State. It would be great for college football. It would be great for the Big Ten. it would be great for Ohio. It'd be great for everyone. Cincinnati, Ohio State in the college football playoff. Oh my goodness. 2v3, it could happen. We would need Alabama to lose to Georgia, so Alabama would be out. Georgia would be the 1 seed. You'd need Oklahoma to lose probably a regular season game and then maybe also lose the Big 12 championship. This could happen. It would be a 2v3 matchup because I don't think either Ohio State or Cincinnati are getting the #1 overall seed if either of them went out, so it would be a 2v3 matchup. Top 10 ESPN FPI chance to make the playoff. Georgia, 90%. My goodness. The weird thing with Georgia, they still have to face Florida, and I don't think Florida's that good. But if they lose to Florida, I mean, they're going to have to beat Bama to make the playoff. Now, again, I don't think they'll lose to Florida, but it's not like they have this absurdly easy schedule left. They also have Kentucky, although, what are they, 22-point favorites against Kentucky? So you've got Oklahoma coming in at #2. That's simply because they're undefeated. That's not because, you know, they're, I would say, a better team than Alabama or Ohio State or you know, someone like that. They're undefeated, so they have more room for error, so they're going to have a higher chance. Alabama at #3, Cincy at 4, and then all those Big Ten teams, 4 straight Big Ten teams all clustered around. All those Big Ten teams are just going to cannibalize themselves, and one team's going to come out on top. We'll have to see who that ends up being. Also, you have Iowa from the West just waiting. Midseason 12-team college football playoff. I love the idea of a 12-team college football playoff with the first 4 teams getting byes so that you can see Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma all with byes. And then you've got Michigan taking on Oregon, Alabama versus Wake Forest. You've got a nice Big Ten battle, Penn State and Michigan State. And then how about Ohio State, Kentucky? Winner gets Cincinnati. I love the idea of a 12-team playoff. I cannot wait until they implement that. So this is just something that I found interesting. Last year, Texas A&M beat Florida 41-38 on a walk-off field goal at home with 2 seconds left. This year, they beat Alabama 41-38 on a walk-off field goal at home with 2 seconds left. It's pretty interesting. Heisman Trophy odds after 6 weeks. I think I might be doing a video on the Heisman Trophy, just breaking it down. You've got Bryce Young there. Please, for the love of God, do not bet on Matt Corral. Matt Corral had a game against Alabama where he could prove himself, and he was horrible. I'm sorry he's not winning the Heisman. That's a terrible value, plus 200. C.J. Stroud is great value. Bijan Robinson, it's going to be tough for him to win the Heisman now that Texas already has 2 losses. Ritter has no chance due to their schedule. Kenneth Walker definitely has the opportunity if he runs through Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, but that's going to be very hard. And those are just some lower-ranked guys. Brian Robinson, Spencer Rattler is still on the. Are those his odds to start the next game plus 6,000? Those are his odds to make the next start against TCU on Saturday because we all think Caleb Williams is going to be making it. These are the undefeated teams left. Shout out UTSA. Shout out Coastal Carolina, San Diego State. You love seeing it with some of those teams. Big Ten versus the SEC. Which conference is more likely to have 2 college football playoff teams? So with Alabama's loss, it gets a lot more interesting. Iowa, you would think, would win out. They really don't have another tough game until the Big Ten championship game. So the idea is, let's say Ohio State goes undefeated, wins the Big Ten championship. Now you've got a 1-loss Iowa, a 1-loss Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State makes the playoff guaranteed. But does Iowa also make the playoff? They're not a conference champion, but they only have 1 loss, and they've been ranked. If Iowa keeps winning, I assume they're going to continue to be ranked 2nd unless they're scraping by bad teams like, Purdue this week. Maybe they only win by 3. That would look bad. But let's say they're crushing all these bad teams. I think Iowa could very easily make an argument they should be in the playoff as well. When it comes to the SEC, it's quite simple. Georgia wins out, they go to the SEC Championship undefeated. Alabama wins out, they go to the SEC Championship with 1 loss. Bama beats Georgia, they're both automatically wins. They're both automatically in the playoff. Georgia beats Bama, Bama's out, Georgia's in, only 1 SEC team makes it. It's an interesting argument, and quite frankly, it's very close right now due to how the depth of the Big Ten and how good it is overall. Bowl projections for some New Year's 6 games. We've got the Cotton Bowl, so this is the first playoff game, 1v4. Georgia against Cincinnati, that would be a rematch. Remember them in a New Year's 6 bowl last year. Georgia won a really close game. How about Iowa taking on Oklahoma? I would not like that game. I'll be honest with you guys. That would be a very boring game. The Rose Bowl, we've got Oregon taking on Penn State. Fun little game there. what is that? The Sugar Bowl, Old Miss, and Oklahoma State gets into it. The Peach Bowl, Ohio State and Wake Forest. Ohio State might be 25-point favorites in that game. And then the Fiesta Bowl, Michigan and Arizona State. A little zesty matchup there. I like that. Nick Saban, Saban's former assistant coach's updated record against him. Finally, we don't have to hear about this. Thank God. 1-24. All we hear about whenever Nick Saban faces an assistant coach is they're 0-17 against him. They're 0-18 against him. They're 0-19 against him. Thank you, Jimbo Fisher. We don't have to hear about that anymore. I'm sure we still will because now the record's only 1-24. Weird stat of the day. Today is the first time UMass won and Alabama lost on the same day since November 10th, 2012 when UMass beat Akron 22-14. Interesting score there. And Bama lost to A&M 29-24. The Johnny Manziel game, if we remember that correctly, in Tuscaloosa. So that's just a funny stat. Longest active college football win streaks. People are going to find this interesting. Oklahoma sitting at 14 right now. Iowa and Georgia. The most shocking thing about looking at this is Ohio State's not on there. Alabama's not on there, and Clemson is not on there. So that's interesting to look at. Oklahoma, yeah, Oklahoma's had all these close games, but they're winning them. So it's interesting they still are first there. Top 50 receiver performances. There's my guy at number 5, A.T. Perry. A.T. Perry, 3 catches this week, 137 yards and 3 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy's a beast. Calvin Austin III is one of the top receivers in college football. Chris Olave down there as well. Drake London has been phenomenal. I love me some Josh Downs coming in at number 27. I love a lot of receivers this year. They're so good. Jalen Naylor needs a shout out. I think I have an actual statistic on him later in this video. Top 10 Big East teams remaining matchups this season. October 30th, number 7 at number 6. October 30th, number 8 at number 10. November 13th, number 8 at number 7. November 20th, number 10 at number 6. November 27th, number 6 at number 8. November 27th, number 7 at number 10. Good God. The Big Ten is loaded this year. It's great for college football. I love it. College football teams' playoff chances, very high. I would not put Cincinnati at very high right now. I would put them at a good shot, just due to potentially 2 SEC teams making it or 2 Big Ten teams making it. Iowa, I would probably put a good shot. Iowa's very interesting. To me, Iowa's going to win out, and then it just comes down to 1-loss non-conference champ Iowa, and then Georgia, yeah, they're going to be very high. Good shot. Michigan, Ohio State, I would say Michigan, well, maybe. I mean, they're still undefeated, but I think Penn State with a healthy Sean Clifford is better than Michigan. I will say that. But they're very close, and they both have really good defenses. You've also got Oklahoma at good shot. They're undefeated right now. And then Alabama with one loss. They're at good shot as well. Alabama really doesn't have another really big challenging game, I don't think. Maybe the game against Auburn, the rivalry game. But other than that, they face Mississippi State this week on the road. But it's going to come down to that SEC championship game, I think, for Alabama at this point. So De'Aaron King will undergo shoulder surgery and is out for the season. That's unfortunate. So that'll end De'Aaron King's college career. De'Aaron King has such a good name to be like a Heisman. Like, De'Aaron King is such a great name. I was thinking about that earlier today. You want to know another great name, a player that never won the Heisman, but his name is like perfect for the Heisman? Khalil Tate. Remember the Arizona dual threat quarterback? The perfect name. Malik Zaire is another one. Some of these guys have just great names like to win the Heisman. Tate Martell had a really good name too. We know what happened with him, but that's a good name for like a Heisman dual threat college quarterback. This is Ohio State's remaining schedule. You've got at Indiana. That one should be relatively easy. Penn State at home, at Nebraska. That's a sneaky tough game. Versus Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, or at Michigan there. Very tough schedule. The Big Ten, Ohio State, it's finally ramping up. Ohio State, by the way, has a bye week this week. Also, Penn State is off this week, and Michigan as well. And then next week, Ohio State goes to Indiana. That's a Saturday night game on ABC. And by the way, that game against Penn State that's at home, it's also going to be ABC Saturday night. It will be a night game. The Fox is going to have the Michigan State big noon game that day. They'll put that at big noon, which screws Michigan State because they're the home team. You never want to play a big game at noon, but Ohio State, Penn State will be on ABC. It's a night game. It's at home, and it's a scarlet out for Ohio State, so everyone's wearing scarlet. So it should be a very fun game there, and we'll have to see. Maybe a Heisman statement from C.J. Stroud? Question mark. We'll have to see. Florida State, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened in North Carolina. It really is. I'm a fan of North Carolina. I love Sam Howell. I think he's the best quarterback in this college football class. Everyone wants to talk about, some of these other quarterbacks like Malik Willis, from Liberty, things like that. I love Sam Howell. I love Josh Downs. I did not expect them to lose to Florida State. Florida State has talent, but they were down the whole game. I mean, they were getting crushed. Utah, huge win against USC. I think they're going to couple that with another big win at home this weekend against Arizona State. Right now, you can bet them straight up money line. I love Utah. You take a look. What a big win that was at USC. Should Spencer Rattler enter the transfer portal? It's either that. I mean, the dude, I seriously, legitimately think, I don't know if he will. He might just transfer. I think the dude could just declare for the draft, and some GM or some owner who thinks he can fix everyone will take a chance on him in the back half of the first round. That's how desperate teams are in the NFL for franchise quarterbacks. I mean, he has the talent. This is a former 5-star. The arm talent's off the charts. He'd do really well at the combine. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 pick or anything like that. He struggled this year. He might enter the transfer portal. It'd be interesting to see where it would go. It'd be fun to see. But I'm just saying, it's like that's still an option. These numbers are just, oh my goodness. This is against Rutgers. 5 receptions, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns. 5 receptions for 221 yards. Oh my goodness, ladies and I love this Michigan State team is so underrated. It's crazy. Kirby Smart says JT Daniels threw 30 to 40 balls on Monday. Do we know what JT Daniels' injury is outside of Georgia fans? I mean, seriously, I keep expecting him to play, and then I just see Stetson Bennett out there, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, am I the only one that's like that with Georgia? Like, I keep expecting it. Oh, they're resting him against a bad team. Whatever, he'll play next week. Then I turn on, I'm watching Georgia, and Stetson Bennett's out there, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like, it's just so weird. What's his injury? Is the dude injured? Like, I don't even know. I guess he is, but top receiving yards. This is through week 6. There's Calvin Austin. He's a beast. Drake London. Josh Downs. Where's A.T. Perry? I love me some A.T. Perry. My college football wish list, the game at night. Oh, I agree with that. 1 year, they need to do that. They need to do it 1 year. Playoff expansion, 100% on board with that. Texas versus Texas A&M every year. That's a good rivalry in the state of Texas. They should do that. But it would be, if they're joining the SEC, they should do that. Texas is joining the SEC. Rivalry game color rush unis. I'm all for that. I love different uniforms. I love when Ohio State wears different uniforms, like different color schemes. NCAA game back ASAP. Yeah, that would be great. Paul Feinbaum canceled. I mean, I have nothing against Paul Feinbaum. He's going to, he's an SEC guy. And that's what he is. That's his fan base, whatever. He's going to be pro-SEC. So, I mean, I have nothing against him, but I understand people that don't like him, I guess. So these are the top receiving vote getters for teams not in the top 25. Auburn, so they'd be ranked 26th. Clemson 27, Baylor 28, and University of Texas San Antonio getting a shout-out, still undefeated at 6-0 at number 29. Indiana's schedule features 6 top 10 opponents. Indiana's had such a hard schedule. Iowa, number 2. Cincinnati, number 3. Ohio State, number 6. Penn State, it's just, my goodness. I do feel bad for Indiana. I picked them as one of my most overrated teams coming into the year, in part due to their schedule. The other part due, I thought they were a little bit overhyped. People kind of overrated them due to the pandemic year. But that schedule, it's very tough. I mean, so from the West, you're getting Iowa. Your non-conference is Cincinnati, and then from the East, I mean, you get Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State. Good luck. Good luck. Things that have severely underperformed this season: Iowa State. They were on my list as one of my most overrated teams. Miami, still no clue how Miami was ranked 14th to start the year. My conspiracy theory is still that they wanted to drum up that Week 1 Alabama versus Miami game. That's why they ranked Miami so high. They had no business being inside the top 20. Wisconsin, they still have a good defense. Just, my goodness, Graham Mertz. There's just no improvement. Washington, yeah, they've been disappointing. North Carolina, absolutely. LSU, they're just a mess. Spencer Rattler is the most surprising, underperforming name on that list out of all those teams. And also Clemson's offense, yes. Clemson's offense, I did not expect to be anywhere close to this bad with the talent that they have. How about this game? This game, if you're a Tennessee fan, man, this just goes to show you how quickly you can turn around your program. I'm not saying Tennessee is completely turned around yet, but look at this. Ole Miss at Tennessee. Tennessee slight favorites, and it's the first sellout crowd since 2017. They're doing the whole checkerboard color matching thing. This is such a great opportunity for Tennessee's program. You're facing an Ole Miss team, very beatable, very beatable. Ole Miss has a terrible defense. They do have a really good offense. This game is just, it's such a big game for the program of Tennessee. It's huge if they get this win. They need this win so bad for their program. It's a sellout crowd. It's going to be rocking. 7 o'clock start. What is that on ESPN? The SEC Network. Why would you not put that game on ESPN? That's ridiculous. We don't want to watch these games on the SEC Network. We've got an updated power ranking poll. So these are just the overall power rankings. I think pretty much everyone is in agreement. The top 3 overall teams are Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. So if you're just going by power rankings and not by losses, I would agree. Those are the top teams. Just looking at this list, some things I would say Ole Miss is too high at number 7. I would say a little bit too high. Their defense is just, not good enough. Arizona State, a little bit too high at number 12. I expect them to lose this week at Utah. Arkansas, maybe a little bit high. Pitt, maybe a little bit, well, I think 15 is a decent ranking for Pitt. Michigan State, a little bit low. I would put Michigan State at either 12 or 13. And how about Nebraska at number 22? I agree with that. That's smart. That is so smart. I actually might move Tennessee up with how their offenses look. But Nebraska, I understand they're 3 and 4, but if you're just going by power rankings, they're a good football team. They really are. They've improved so much. College football playoff categories, overrated Alabama, no. I mean, they lost 1 game. I would not consider them overrated. Underrated Michigan State, I agree. Sleeper, no. Oklahoma State will have 3 losses by the end of the year. Lock, Georgia, they're as close to a lock as you can get right now compared to all the other teams. May slip up. Cincinnati, no. I would not put Cincinnati on the slip up category. I mean, I guess you could say SMU, but they have an easy schedule. Can make it. Ohio State, a lot of teams can make it. Long shot, Notre Dame. Notre Dame has 0 chance. They're not making it even if they went out. Easy path, Iowa. Easy path until the Big Ten championship. Hard path, Michigan. You could also put Michigan State on that list. You could also put Penn State. You could put a lot of Big Ten teams on that list. But guys, that is going to do it for this edition of your weekly dose of college football. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.